Welcome back to the channel. This is Maxwell Lumumba Africa, and today we are going to have a real talk, a healthy conversation about domestic violence. And before I start, let me first translate everything that was said with African Ruby and Gake in that clip that we have watched. At the beginning, we can hear some slaps or some beatings. Then we can also hear African Ruby abusing Gake in Korean language. That means a dog. She went ahead and abused again Gake about taka taka. Taka taka means garbage. Then Gake responds to her, telling her, "You can continue recording, you dog." Ladies and gentlemen, for those who have not subscribed to this amazing YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video to other individuals. Remember to turn on the notification bell so that any day, anytime I post any video, you people get notified. Watch my videos from the beginning up to the end without skipping those ads that you see there. Let us show love to this YouTube channel. Let us like all my videos, guys. Today I want to talk about something that I honestly don't want us to treat as just another piece of social media drama, because when you see a man and a woman arguing online, people immediately start choosing teams. People start saying, "I'm team Gake," others say, "I'm team African Ruby." Others start insulting one person, others start defending the other person. But today, I don't want to lose the bigger picture, because what we are seeing being circulated online involving Gake and African Ruby raises a serious issue, and the issue is domestic violence. And let me make my position very right from the beginning. I don't support domestic violence. I don't care whether you are a man. I also don't care whether you are a woman. I don't care how angry you are. I don't care whether somebody insulted you. I don't care whether the relationship was stressful as it is being put by Gake. You don't put your hands on your partner, period. Now, before I go any further, let me say something very important. From the footage that we are seeing there is something that we can actually see, and I'm going to react to the footage circulating online. I was not there when the incident happened. I don't know everything that happened before the camera started recording. I don't know everything that happened after the camera stopped recording. I don't know how this started. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the entire history of this relationship, but I can react to what is actually visible and audible in the material that we have seen. And that's exactly what I want us to do today. Let us talk this intelligently. Let us talk about it without encouraging violence. Let us talk about it without turning social media into a courtroom. I've already seen these people actually releasing different videos. Some of them now are even Swearing before the name of God. You know, once you swear anything, that tells us that you are already guilty. And most importantly, let us talk about why domestic violence should never be normalized, especially in the African setup. For those who really understand why I'm adding African setup, it's because we have seen a lot of domestic violence being done, not only about the younger youth that we are seeing in the name of girlfriend, boyfriend things. Basically, the issue about African Ruby and Gake, no one married another one. This is just a boyfriend and a girlfriend thing. They are now demonstrating another thing like fight. Now, when you watch the circulating clip, you can see Gake, African Ruby involving in a very heated confrontation. African Ruby is heard saying several things. We can hear her using abusive language at one point. We can hear her using Korean insult directed at Gake. We also hear the word garbage. And we hear her saying, "What's your problem?" So clearly, this wasn't a peaceful conversation. There was anger. There was confrontation. There was insult. And then we get to the part that I believe we really need to discuss. We see what appears to be Gake hitting or slapping African Ruby. And I believe, or I think, the reason why African Ruby had to abuse him, irrespective or a dog, is because she was like she lost her emotion, yeah. And let me say this as a reality, yeah. We see what appears the way I've demonstrated, and this is where I have a problem, a very serious problem, because you can be very angry, you can be very frustrated, but let me also say this, even though we don't know what caused these does not give Gake a chance to slap somebody or to slap a lady. You know, let us make a difference between this is a relationship thing, yeah. This is like a opposite gender thing, not as, let's say, somebody gets a thief, or even though for that you're not even supposed to do that, yeah. You can feel sometimes being disrespected, you can feel provoked, but you still have a choice. You can walk away slowly. You can end the conversation. You can leave the house. You can say, "I'm not continuing this conversation," and you can end the relationship. But once you decide to use physical violence, you have crossed a completely different line. I've seen some reactors saying that Gake deserves to be arrested. Let us not take this issue, yeah. And then the same people were saying that are the same people who are being beaten with their husband, minus arresting them, yeah. But I'm not encouraging domestic labor. If African Ruby thinks the best way is to arrest Gake, go ahead and do it. Nobody will tell you not to do that. You do what your mind tells you. But let us not react as if we are now pressurizing, yeah. Let us not behave like a jury, yeah. And I want people to understand something. I'm not saying verbal abuse is okay. It is not. If African Ruby was verbally abusing Gake, that is also wrong. If you are constantly insulting your partner, humiliating them, provoking them, calling them their names. That's toxic behavior. But here's the difference. An insult does not give you a license to hit somebody. And this applies to everybody. We have seen, even in Kenya, politicians, this reminds me about Evans Kidero, slapping, she was called Shebesh, Naomi Shebesh, something of sort, yeah? Very recently, we saw Governor of Migori County slapping somebody, yeah? If a woman insults a man, she does not have the right to hit him. If a man insults a woman, she does not have the right to hit him. If a man is insulted by a woman, he does not have the right to hit him. We have to stop making excuses for violence, because now what we are now seeing, every party wants to make an excuse. Person A did these and these. Person B did these and these. But I don't want to say that, yeah? Now, I already know some people are saying, Maxwell, but African Ruby was provoking him. Okay. Let us assume for a moment that she was. Let us assume she was saying things that were extremely disrespectful. Let us assume she was deliberately trying to make him hungry. What should Gake have done? Should he hit her? The answer is no. Walk away. That's the answer. And I'm not saying that because I want to defend one person. I'm saying it because that is how elder people should handle conflict. You know something? Sometimes walking away from an argument is actually the strongest thing you can do, because when you are angry, you might say things you don't mean. You might do things you regret. And once physical violence happens, you cannot simply rewind the clock. You can't say, sorry, I was angry. The damage has already happened. And we can all see that. And that is why I strongly believe that when you need to remove yourself from this situation, and that is the only thing that somebody can do, go outside, go somewhere else, call somebody, calm down, come back later. If the conversation still needs to happen, and if the relationship is simply too toxic, end it. Nobody is forcing you to remain in a relationship that can destroy your peace. And another thing that caught my attention is the footage, is that Gake apparently telling African Ruby to continue recording. And that part is very interesting for me, because once you know a camera is recording you, you should understand that whatever you do may be seen with thousands or even millions of viewers. Social media does not forget easily. A 10-second clip like this one can follow you for years. And this is why I always tell people, do not let social media pressure you into behaving in a way you would later regret. Because when you are angry, you are not thinking about tomorrow. You are thinking about right now. You are thinking, I'm angry. I am going to respond. I am going to do these and these. I am going to show her. I am going to prove my point. But tomorrow comes, and now that video is everywhere. Reactors are discussing it. Subscribers are discussing it. Comment section are discussing. People who don't even know you are now forming opinion about you. I've already seen somebody saying in the comment, that is why Maro had to sack you. How is it related? How is this issue about Gake and African Ruby related to how maybe Kenge, maybe Kenge did what? Kenge stopped you. Actually, Kenge dismissed you from his workplace. It does not relate in any way. So that's the danger of losing control in front of the camera. Let us not now see that because maybe Kenge sacked you, now you want to correlate these with things that happened long time ago. And now I know I'll be doing a lot of reactions about this because I've seen Gake with Ginto doing a video. I saw Gake doing his own video. Now I'm now discussing about domestic violence. So that means we still have a healthy conversation that I'll be digesting deep so that we get to understand. Let me talk about the relationship is over, because Gake released a video saying this relationship is over, and Gake also reportedly saying that the relationship between him and African Ruby is no more, and he described their relationship as stressful. Let me say this: in a relationship, it is stressful to a point where you are constantly fighting, constantly insulting each other, constantly urging and arguing, and eventually physical violence enters the picture. Maybe the relationship shouldn't continue, and that is the reality. When you see Gake has come on camera and told people that this relationship is over, who told us that this relationship was to proceed? Because once we see physical abuse, physical violence, sometimes two people simply aren't good for each other. That is why they're fighting, and that's okay. Not every relationship is supposed to last forever. Sometimes the healthiest decision is to separate. I've seen some people saying that Gake behaves like a child, or the mind is not mature. Let me not discuss about that. Even for us, long time ago, we were in a relationship, yeah? We were there, yeah? Nowadays, we're like, this thing about relationship, yeah? It is like, we don't believe in it, yeah? But for those who are trying to try their luck, you try your luck. But some people are fed with the relationship, because today you are at peace, tomorrow somebody is quarreling you, to the next time, yeah? You know, people really pass through a lot, yeah? The next time you are being even called in a family baraza, yeah? You don't have to stay with somebody just because you started a YouTube channel together. And let me just tell us a story about this. And this is what I'm thinking, yeah? The website, you don't have to stay with somebody just because you started a YouTube channel together. You don't have to stay together because you opened a TikTok account together. You don't have to stay because you helped each other build businesses. You don't have to stay because you once loved each other. And if the relationship has become toxic, you need to make difficult decisions. But here's the important point: you should separate without violence. You can say, this relationship is no longer working for me, and leave. You need to destroy. You don't need actually to destroy somebody. You don't need to beat somebody. You don't need to threaten somebody. You don't need to humiliate somebody. Just leave. I know a lot of discussions will be coming online. Gake will try telling people that this is what happened. But to me, what I believe is this. This relationship was much of opportunistic. The reason why I'm telling us this is because there is somebody who was very opportunistic. Look at what Gake is saying. I'm the one who helped her create this YouTube. I was the one that I was the photographer or the cameraman. So this tells us that before even this relationship, you know, sometimes you can start like a cameraman. At the long last, you now tell the person that you are like the cameraman for them that now It's either be I can now serve two masters at a time. I can be your cameraman. I can still date you. And what is the evidence? There is nothing like cheating. Most of the times I'll be with you as your videographer. Yeah. So that is how these relationships started. Yeah. So this is somebody who was like a cameraman. Then you climbed through the ranks. You became now the owner of this person. Yeah. Like boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah. That is why you see like Gake and African Ruby, they have not been consistent while doing this video. Yeah, it is as if like they only do it when they want, and that is it. And I don't want to speak a lot of things about this because I know we have a lot of stories to tell people about this, but I'm really waiting for what they say is what I react, because I know what has been happening. Yeah, I don't want to expose what has not been said. So I was seeing these people on TikTok making videos about romantic videos, or like, okay, these are the relationships so that people want. I've seen them in YouTube making videos together, like, yeah. And let me talk about another part of this story. Gake and African Ruby reportedly opened a joint TikTok account and a YouTube account, and we are also hearing claim that Gake helped African Ruby establish a own YouTube channel account. Now, there is an allegation circulating online that Gake was the one controlling their accounts. I want to be very careful here. Those are allegations. I haven't personally verified the ownership arrangement, passwords, recovery emails, revenue arrangement, or account permission. So I'm not going to tell us that those allegations are fact, but this situation teaches us something very important. If you are in a relationship and you are building something together, you need to have clear agreement. Who owns the channel? Who controls the email? Who has the recovery phone number? Who owns the video? Who received the money? What happens if you break? Those are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary questions, because when everything is doing well, nobody wants to talk about separation. Everybody is happy. African Ruby, from where she was sitting, she was very happy. Gake, where he was sitting, he was very happy. Everybody is making money. Everybody is creating content. Everybody is saying, that's my person. But the relationship can change. And when the relationship ends, suddenly, you can have a business dispute. That is why people should respect themselves from the beginning. Love somebody, trust somebody, but also understand your rights and responsibility when you are building a business together. YouTube is like a business, and that's the reality. And we have seen some reactions from people online. Some people saying that I am unsubscribing. Others are calling Gake a monster. Others are calling him a demon. Others are saying I can never support somebody who do this. And I understand why people are angry. If you see someone apparently being physically assaulted, you are going to be an emotional reaction. But I want to caution people about something. The same people who are opening their gullible mouth about unsubscribing and everything, yeah, they're the same people who are not even watching Gake. Condemn the behavior without being abusive yourself. If you believe Gake actions were wrong, say what you did was wrong. You don't necessarily need to say you are a demon, you are not a human, go die, because then we are creating another person. Accountability is not the same thing as online harassment. I know some people will be coming and say, Max, what did you say? I've said you are not supposed to abuse anybody, even if somebody was wrong, we can say domestic violence is unacceptable. We can say, I don't support this behavior. We can say, I'm no longer comfortable supporting this creator. We can say, they are legitimate position, but let us not turn the comment section to be another battlefield. I know, because Gake has done a video with Gintu, people will be speaking a lot of things, yeah? And let me tell us, and I want to speak directly to men, I included, yeah? Brothers, listen to me. Walking away from an argument does not make you weak. Being insulted and refusing to hit somebody does not make you weak. Living toxic relationship does not make you weak. Controlling your anger is strength. You do not have to prove that you are a man by physically overpowering a woman. If somebody is constantly disrespecting you, leave that relationship. If the relationship is destroying you, leave it. If you are constantly fighting, leave that relationship. Because what happens when you stay in a relationship where both of you constantly trigger each other, eventually somebody gets hurt, and then everybody is sitting there and asking, how did it get this far? You already had the answer. The relationship was very much toxic. And this message is not only for men. Women also need to hear this. Do not normalize verbal abuse. Do not deliberately provoke your partner. Do not humiliate somebody because you know they are emotional. You know, some people like us, we really understand the ladies that we have in the village. They are very much provoking, and the reality has to be said. Yeah. How many times have you heard congrats mom being beaten with congrats dad? A lot of times. How many times it has been alleged that Mora Senso used to beat Roro? A lot of times. How many domestic violence have you witnessed in the village? A lot of them. So this tells us there is a pattern about the men, and also there is a pattern about the ladies. But this does not tell us that the only way is to beat the other one. So we are living in a toxic environment that we need to get away from domestic violence. Yeah, women are taking advantage. We see women doing this and that. We see men doing this and that. Yeah, you know, every side they have their own challenge. Don't think about that, because you are smaller physically. You can say or do anything without consequences. A good thing that builds me every day, I actually say one thing to myself, yeah? The way I got you is the same way I can get another girl. And that is how things are. Yesterday, part one, it happened that I was in a conversation with one of the guys from Tanzania. And we were like talking, just a story. He was trying to tell me that these ladies are very poisonous, yeah. Never trust a woman, yeah. A woman has done for me. Nowadays I'm a bachelor with kids, I don't know what, a lot of information, yeah. He was trying to tell me that this gender is very toxic. And for me, you know, sometimes if something has beaten you, you have to think twice, yeah. Instead of running up and down in this relationship thing, yeah, stay single, stay humble, yeah. Your right rib will be coming for you. Violence is wrong, yeah. He was telling me that for him, he did not do any violence. He just let the woman go. And the person who did that, right now as we speak, is like a mad person. The same person that your wife was cheating you with, that person has no life. So this tells us something that we can control. Don't think that because you are smaller physically, you can also do anything without consequence. Violence is wrong. Verbal abuse is wrong. Emotional abuse is wrong. Manipulation is also wrong. And a healthy relationship should not be built around fear. And so, guys, where do I stand? Very simple. I do not support domestic violence. If the footage circulating online accurately represents Gake hitting African Ruby, then I strongly condemn that behavior. Some people will tell me like, Gake is your friend. I don't know. No. At the same time, I don't support African Ruby alleged verbal abuse either. Two wrongs don't make a right. If the relationship was stressful, then end it. If the relationship was toxic, leave. If you couldn't communicate without fighting, separate. If you cannot respect each other, go your separate ways, but don't put your hand on each other. And to everybody watching this, don't make domestic violence entertaining. Because I know some reactors will now be representing it like entertainment. Don't turn somebody's pain into a joke. Don't defend violence because you like the person who committed it, and don't condemn violence only when it is committed by somebody you dislike. And that is what we are now seeing today. We have the same standard for everybody. Today it's Gake and African Ruby. Tomorrow it could be somebody you know. It could be your sister, your brother, your daughter, your son, your friend, your neighbor. The last time we saw domestic violence, who knew that one day Congress mom and Congress dad, domestic violence will be in a broad daylight, yeah? And somebody is walking from village to village telling people that, hey, I'm the person who is trying to control and rebuke this domestic violence. And yet, your mother and your father, they are participating in domestic violence. So, relationships can be ended, YouTube channels can be separated, TikTok accounts can be rebuilt, money can be made again. But once violence becomes part of relationship, the consequences can be much deeper than what we see in a viral video. How many people have unlived each other because of the same thing? So, my message is simple. Walk away before you hit. Live before you hurt somebody. End the relationship before the violence becomes normal. And most importantly, domestic violence is never the answer. If you are angry, walk away. If you are hurt, get help. If you are being abused, seek safety and support. But don't turn anger into violence. That's my take on this situation, and I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think couples should separate immediately once physical violence enter the real? And do you think social media creators should do when their private relationship builds public? Let's have the conversation respectful. I will see you in the next video. Reaction, continue, and goodbye. Good night.